Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. My name is Channie Mize and I'm the Ohio Valley GM for Slalom Consulting. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of interviewing Maureen Butler, VP of Digital Technology at GE Aerospace. So let's say we get to a place where we have those access controls, we have data in a relatively clean state. It's always a matter of being cleaned. But how do what advice would you give to an organization for the maintenance and ongoing governance of that data? I mean, is it a data czar? How do you think about that?
There comes a point when you're probably 3+ years into a data domain maturity in the business. So say like customer master data, where we've gone down a path of one P&L. We started with the executive in one of our P&Ls that said we're having issues with these data domains. And if we fix this, it's going to enable a tremendous amount of value for our customers. And so then you have to start spreading that across the other P&Ls. But the nice thing is you can accelerate it with the other P&Ls because we've already done the groundwork. So once you're into this, where we're taking the data domain enterprise wide and saying, okay, we're creating trusted sources of data. Now you need to maintain it. Really, your data stewards organization is just now part of a function, just like HR is a function or finance is a function, data management is a function. And I think when you do that, then that function starts to bring additional value. Mm-hmm. There's more they can do. There's more value that they can create than just cleaning and standardizing the data and crowd access. That's job one. And then there's a lot more value unlocked you can get from a data steward organization.
Yeah.
And where I see companies go wrong is that they see that as a temporary organization. And then when it's time to make cuts, oh, there's some data team over there. You know what? They're managing one of your most valuable assets. That's right. Not where you want to cut. You need to go look at what they're doing and saying, okay, have we sub-optimized that organization? Are we done with all the cleaning? Because I can tell you, honestly, you're probably not done with cleaning in a year. If you have a very highly complex technology landscape, you may be at this for quite a while, and that team has a lot of work to do. But then you get into a maintenance mode, and like I said, then you just reevaluate what you need.
That's right. Well, then I think maybe there's other horizons too, and maybe some of that is creating the data or curating the data or augmenting the data. 100%. So maybe share a little bit more about like horizon one maybe is cleaning your data and getting it to a state of cleansed and having clear data lineage. And then maybe talk to us a little bit about the maturation of, as you treat your data like an asset, what other things can you do with your data to make it more valuable?
One place that we're going to be going here soon, and I think a lot of companies, you'll see this, especially around customer data or product data, you start to create what you're calling mastering the data, right? You're creating a level of intelligence, not only of that data domain itself, but now the interconnectivity of the data. So think about it this way. You have probably, depending on the size of your organization, thousands of customer records across the organization. You probably don't have that many actual customers, but you've got all these records. So now you have to make some kind of intelligence about them. What's the legal entity structure, the hierarchy structure? How are we doing business with these customers? So now you need to create a level now of intelligence about all that data that you have on all these records. Now, when you build that structure of your customers, sales or marketing or others will start to look at that and go, I need that view. That helps me in terms of, my sellers, who's calling on what. If I want to do a customer reorganization with my sellers and recalibrate the territories, I need that level of looking at my customers. If your head of sales, your CEO wants to go out and visit your big customer, it's really hard for them to figure out thousands of records, who is actually that major customer you're going to see. So level of intelligence. Now you take that and you marry that with the product data and you say, okay, this customer buying these products. So those are examples where you now amp it up the value further than just cleaning and standardizing, but now I'm building a level of intelligence. So that's the point where it starts to get really exciting and people see value because it's a capability they've really never had before.
That's right. I love that. And I think as data organizations start moving up that value chain, up that horizon 2 and 3 and whatever with data, they start becoming not just a cost center within an organization, but a value generation center within the organization.
That's right. And that's right. And that's where we go back to what we said earlier. And that is when you keep the value coming and you can demonstrate it for leaders, the investment doesn't stop. The attention
Exactly.
doesn't stop. So you have to, I think as a CDO, as a data management leader, you have to be looking down the road at where is the value going to come next. And working with your business leaders to know what are the priorities of the leadership team and saying, okay, I can enable this. And I think that's where AI comes into play, right? Because if the organization is saying, okay, the next frontier or the frontier we're currently going down is AI, the data science, our head of data science, I met him on, I think, my second day, and he's like, we need to be, close buds. And we are, because now he can come to me and say, hey, these are the areas where I need certified data sets. He shared with me that day that 75% of his data scientist time was spent cleaning the data before they could actually go do the work they needed to do. Think about that.
I believe it. Yeah.
75%. And these aren't inexpensive resources. They're highly skilled resources that could be creating all kinds of value, but they can't do it until they feel that they're working with trusted data sets or to the best of their ability. So again, it's that forward looking, how are we going to build that next capability and enable this and enable that, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. No, it's a good anecdote, and it's a good reminder that without data, we really can't do all the things that, you know, analytics or generative AI or fill in the blank technology provides us the opportunity for. Data is the fuel that drives all that technology. So, question here, just changing topics a little bit, but you've obviously had a tremendous amount of experience. You're doing great work. Do you have any words of advice for current or aspiring CDOs?
I'd hang success on a few things. One, you have to find a way to get the senior level executive sponsorship support. It can't be a flash in the pan. It can't be one leader saying, hey, I believe in it, and you don't really have it it's got to be tied to the enterprise's strategic initiatives. If you don't have that, you're going to struggle, and it can become a flash in the pan. Secondly, go to the executives that feel the pain and are willing to partner for a period of time and willing to make the investment. I think you have to also look at this and say, this isn't an IT initiative.
Right.
It's a big fallacy that data is IT's problem and responsibility. As I like to say, IT creates the plumbing and the pipes that run the water, but it's the business that makes the decision on the quality of that water anytime in its life. Temperature, for example, hot or cold. So think about it that way and say IT is the partner and the enabler, but business needs to own the stewardship. Mm-hmm. They need to own the EDM strategy. So in my situation, I'm a very, very small EDM organization at the center that teaches and coaches and shows the business how to be stewards of the data. But they have to learn how to do it. Otherwise, it won't sustain. So I think if you get those elements in place, and then again, go after the things that are going to show some wins that give you the ability to say, trust me, there's value here, while you're building the broader foundation.
Yeah, those are great words of advice. And so last pivot, I want to do something kind of fun. I want to see if you're willing to go along with it. I want to do a lightning round, but it's quick answers, like, one or the other. So Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Morning or evening person?
Morning.
Running or walking?
Running.
I can see that. Podcast or book?
Book.
Okay. And then lastly, what are you watching on Netflix these days?
Oh, Your Honor.
Okay, awesome. Well, it is such an absolute pleasure to have spent, this morning with you, Maureen. Really great insights into how we can be better stewards of our data and also make it a value center in an organization. So thank you so much for joining us on the CDO Magazine interview series.
Thank you, Channie. It's been my honor, my privilege, and I hope someone somewhere out there finds value in this.
They absolutely will. I have no doubt.